Hi there, I'm Angela. Welcome back to the channel, or if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm so happy that you stopped in. Today I have a pattern review for you. Don't go anywhere. I've just finished making McCall's M8120, and it's this fun little flirty topper. I did view A. I had originally planned to do view C, but it turns out I didn't have enough fabric because my fabric was only 45 inches wide. So A was my second choice anyway, so it all worked out. I'll actually show you the full garment here in a few minutes. Let's take a look at the pattern envelope first. So it does come in 3 different views, a shorter one and then sort of a mid-length and then a longer length. And the fabrics called for are georgette, crepe, chiffon, and voile. And the only notion that it calls for is 1 package of a 1/2 inch single fold bias tape. And if you already have a little bit of single fold bias tape on hand, you wouldn't even need to buy a package. I only ended up using, just estimating off the top of my head, maybe this much, like 7 or 8 inches. It just is for the back neckline here to encase the raw edge there. So as a facing or a binding, that's what that acts as, and only for the back here. So you just need a real short little piece there. You might already have that on hand. I wanted to also point out that each of the 3 views has a different sleeve version. I'll try to get in close here. So view A, which is what I made, the sleeve is pretty slim fitting up until the bottom there. It has like a little, kind of like a bell collar on it, if you will. And then view B, the sleeve is a little bit more full and it still does have that extra little collar on the end of it. And then view C is just, it doesn't have that collar, kind of, I keep calling it a collar. I don't know like what else to call it, but it's just a very full sleeve, like single piece sleeve. I did use a georgette, and I think that this was my first time working with georgette. If I ever have used it in the past, it would have been like decades ago, a long time ago. It was difficult to work with, but since this is a pattern review and not a fabric review, I won't get too much into the fabric. Just know that I used a lot of pins. It's really hard to pin down and keep it in place. You guys probably know that if you've worked with it before. I think I have just one word for it. Slippery. No, there's more than one word. Slinky, slidey, drapey, elusive, evasive, hard to pin down. Suffice it to say that I probably won't be working with this too frequently, and it's such a fancy fabric that not something that I will wear frequently, so I really won't have a need to sew with it too often. When I laid the fabric out on my cutting table, preparing it for cutting, oh, and by the way, the cutting layout, at least for my fabric width and the view that I chose, it's by and large, you cut everything single layer. So I spread the whole length of the fabric out single layer on my cutting table and actually taped the selvage edges, like the whole length of the selvage edges, like taped it down to the table to keep it from sliding around. The size range for the pattern runs from extra small to extra large, and to give you more specifics, that's a bust of 29.5 up to 44.5. So kind of more of the typical big 4 size range, which doesn't tend to be extremely size inclusive, at least not yet. I think maybe they're moving more in that direction. So I did cut the large, and my bust size actually fell into the very low end of the extra large. I went ahead and just took a chance and made the large because it is meant to be kind of pretty loose fitting, nothing too tight. And I was worried that if I went ahead and made the XL, even though I fell into the XL size, that it would just kind of swallow me up. And I'm really glad that I did go ahead and size down to the large because it fits pretty well. Overall, I found the instructions very easy to follow. I didn't really find any issues, but there are a couple of things that I wanted to point out that could be helpful if you decide to make the pattern, and it would be a lot easier for me to just show you those. So I have a couple of video clips that I took while I was making the topper, and I will go ahead and insert those. This is my topper so far, and I particularly wanted to show you guys two things. So one is the neckline, which this is where the bias binding is used to sort of face that and hide the raw edges and make it look nice and neat. And then the other thing that maybe more importantly I wanted to show you is that the back itself has darts in it, and I don't know if those are going to show up. So there's two darts along the back so that it makes it more form-fitting to your body, and the back is just single layer, so it's still, you know, very sheer using the Georgette. Now the front is double fabric, so, and that's done by using a facing. So you attach one front piece. I know this is kind of looking like a mess. It's kind of hard to figure out how best to show this to you guys. So each of the front, the left and the right, get faced. So you cut out 4 front pieces, 2 for the left and 2 for the right, and you stitch them. Look at the other side that I haven't finished. You stitch them together all the way out to the end of the tie here, and then you turn it right side out, which I've already done with this side, and you slip stitch it, the facing, down at the side seam and then also at the shoulder seam to cover up those raw edges and make it look nice. I hope those little video clips were helpful for you rather than like making it even more confusing. Maybe it was helpful. And if you're ready, I'll go ahead and show you how it turned out, what it looks like as I'm wearing it. And just to keep in mind that I'm still not quite sure how I will style this top, and as I was looking through my closet trying to find something to wear under it, I didn't really have as many options as I thought I would that kind of go with it. So I did the best I could, and you'll see the shirt that I'm wearing may not be like the ideal combination to wear with the topper, but I think it does okay. And at least the whole point of showing you is so that you can see the topper and not necessarily the layering piece underneath of it. So let's take a look. So what did you think? I really like it. I think it's very stylish and it's very feminine. I tend to, in my daily life, just dress very plain and casual. So making something that's a little more fun and frilly like this kind of gets me out of that comfort zone a little bit. So I'm definitely going to keep my eyes out for the perfect layering piece to wear underneath of it, and I'll be happy to wear it out and about. And if you do decide you're going to make this pattern and you have any questions that I didn't cover here and you get stuck or something like that, just reach out to me, leave a comment, and I'll be very happy to do the best I can to help you out with that. That's all that I have, and be sure to tune in next time when I'm going to talk about my March sewing plans. I can't believe that March is almost here. And thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you later.